Hey everyone, thanks for coming back for another dungeon guide. The WOL is climbing to new heights in the Shadowbringers level 79 dungeon Mountain Gulg. If you weren't already aware, Mountain Gulg is a fun little reference to the mountain of the same name in the original Final Fantasy. As all dungeons up to this point, and the rest of the game really, there isn't too much to worry about here as it's pretty straightforward, so let's go ahead and get started. Music is on point here, and the last area is beautiful. It reminds me of a combination between the Forgotten City in Nier Automata and Heaven in Diablo 3. Nothing notable about the first set of trash, so let's just skip to the first boss, Forgiven Cruelty. Forgiven Cruelty is a pretty simple boss, although he has some heavy-hitting attacks. Rake is your standard tank buster, so nothing new there. Lumen Infinitum, or Infinitum, whichever, is a heavy damage dealing line of sight AoE that comes right out of the boss's face, so don't be in front of that. Typhoon Wing will spawn 3 wind circles that will fire out a large cone AoE in front of them. Safe spaces between the orbs and a little further back, as the boss has a tendency to have an AoE right underneath himself as well. This is easy enough at first, but later on, there will be little wind sprite things that form that also create large AoE circles around them, so keep an eye where they are and stay either close up near the circles under the boss, or near the edge of the arena and close, but not touching to where the cone AoEs are going to hit. Take some practice, but it's not that bad once you get the hang of it. Cyclone Wing is an arena-wide AoE, so be sure to heal up. Then, it's just these same mechanics on a loop, nothing complicated. The only thing to note of in the second wave of trash is Forgiven Apathy. Nothing too bad, but he does send out large cone AoEs that sometimes overlap. If it looks like the entire ground is covered, just get up on top of him. There's a safe space directly on the other side. The second boss is Forgiven Whimsy. This guy's a little more complicated. Sacrament of Penance is an arena-wide AoE that deals moderate damage. When Whimsy shuffles itself around, pay attention to where the faces are. Each square on Whimsy corresponds to the squares you are standing on. When the faces light up and he begins to cast Exegesis, move to a square that does not correspond to a face, otherwise you're going to get hit pretty hard. I was really hoping he would have an attack called Eisegesis, but no luck. Apparently Latent Flowers was unavailable to do another discussion on Romans 9 or John 6. That's a reference that almost none of you are going to get. Catechism is a tank buster, so be sure to watch for that. Judgment Day will spawn 2 circles, and there needs to be at least 1 person in each to take damage for the team. It ain't much damage, but it's honest work. Whimsy will also spawn some circles on the ground that will have large donut AoEs attached to them. Normally, all you would do is get into the safe zone. However, Whimsy likes to couple this with Exegesis, so you need to be sure to avoid Exegesis as well. Just like Latent Flowers. Other than that, mechanics will continue to repeat until the boss takes a dive. The last wave of trash really only has 1 enemy to take note of, but nothing too troublesome. Just before you head up the stairs to fight the last boss, Forgiven Revelry will pop up along with a few floating orbs. The orbs will continuously shoot out line AoEs to avoid. Be sure to keep an eye on Revelry though. When he raises an arm, get to the other half of the arena to avoid getting the smackdown. He's not difficult, just be sure to keep practicing the 5Ds and you'll be aight. We finally reached the final boss, the Consort of Sin, Forgiven Obscenity. I'm not gonna think too hard about that whole consort thing in Vothry too much. Best not to dwell on it. In addition to her title, Forgiven Obscenity has been given, much like Forgiven Venery, the other female senators that you've been killing, a butt slider, something we sure as heck don't have. Probably why Vothry keeps her around. A reminder of what could have been. But enough about that. Obscenity here has several attacks that can be devastating if you aren't keeping an eye on something other than her butt. Orison Fortissimo is an arena-wide AoE. Orison Diminuendo is a point-blank circle AoE, so just stay out of melee range and you'll be fine. Divine Diminuendo is similar to Orison Diminuendo, except there are 2 additional donut AoEs that form just a few steps apart from one another. There's a small safe space between these rings, but honestly, it's just easier to stand close to where you see the border of the first AoE and stay still. If you get hit, you'll take damage as well as get a vulnerability debuff. Conviction Mikado is easy to avoid. It's an X attack, so just stand between circles and you'll be Gucci. Penance Pianissimo will limit the arena to a large circle area, after which she will cast Feather Marionette. Here, Obscenity will summon 4 clones of herself for 5 in total. Now I know what you're thinking. Can it get any better? But remember, she is trying to kill you, and she's been with Vothry, so you may want to take it down a notch. Just saying. There'll be 2 attacks, one consisting of 4 large AoE circles around the edges of the arena, and one directly underneath her. Stand in a safe zone close to the circle under the boss. This is a more dangerous version of Divine Diminuendo, so there's only a small sliver you can stand in without getting hit. The next is just a large diamond consisting of several line AoEs. Much easier to avoid. After that, most of these same mechanics are just going to keep repeating. The only other attack she'll use is Solitaire Ring. This will spawn 6 circles that will fire a line AoE directly in front of them. Find the circle that is the furthest one out from the back of the room, or the one closest to the front of the arena. The other 5 will go off in a pattern based on the glowing orbs in the back moving forward. You'll have a second or 2 to move out of the way of the final circle. Pretty easy, really. So, just keep repeating these mechanics until she's dead. I know, it's sad, but again, you probably don't want to touch that. I mean, you know where she's been. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more Shadowbringers and FF14 content. See you next time when we tackle the 79 trial, the Crown of the Immaculate.